What's going on, world? It's your boy R alongside.
What up, G?
I want to thank everybody for tuning in this week to another episode of Live from 95.
Yeah. And we getting the vibes right with Electric Relaxation by
Woo!
a Tribe Called Quest from Midnight Marauders. Happy 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
Honey, check it out, you got me mesmerized. With your black hair and your fat ass style. Street poetry is my everyday. But yo, I gotta stop when you drop my weight. If I was working at the club, you would not pay.
You wouldn't pay if I worked at the club.
All I gotta say is, me and my bitch.
Yeah. If y'all didn't recognize the beat, that was they sampled that for Forbidden Fruit off Born Sinner, J. Cole featuring Kendrick, another dope track. But yeah, that was the original.
What's going on, everybody? You feeling good?
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. Busy week.
Hope everybody's feeling good on your trip, whether to work or school. Stay safe out here in these streets, you heard?
Yeah, get them vibes right. But yeah, busy week in hip hop. We got a lot of anniversaries, like big ones, including the one we just shouted out. So, like I mentioned before, Tribe Called Quest classic album Midnight Marauders makes 25 years. All y'all youngins who have not heard that album, go back, check it out. It's a classic. Almost every beat on here y'all recognize from modern like artists. And yeah, this was like a staple. You know what I mean? Fife, Q-Tip, dope lyrics, crazy production on here. The beats is fire. Play another classic track from that real quick. Award Tour. It's that classic shit. Fair use. No copyright infringement intended.
Niggas, take off your coats. Ladies act like gems. Sit down. Indian styles, you recite these hymns. Lyrically, I'm Mario Andretti on the Momo. Ludicrously speedy or infectious with the slow-mo.
But yeah, I mean, Tribe Called Quest has always been, they're legends, classics. To be honest, I'm not as familiar with their discography as I would like to be. Definitely revisited this album once I heard it was the 25th anniversary. And like any classic, content that's still relevant today. Beats that still bump today. But yeah. So, I mean, this album is, again, full of classics. Couple standouts. Award Tour, which we just played. Electric Relaxation, which we opened up the episode with. Fire. Classic shit. There's another track on there, 8 Million Stories. Check that out. It's like this crazy storytelling track. And then they got a couple others. And they talk about a lot of things on this album. Hip-hop. Faith with the track, God Lives Through, which is a dope track. Social shit. You got some party tracks on there. There's something for everybody on this album. Definitely revisit it. A couple bars quick from We Can Get Down with Fife raps. How can a reverend preach when a rev can't define the music of our youth from 1979? We rap about what we see, meaning reality, from people busting caps and like Mandela being free. Now every MC be with the negativity. We have a slew of rappers pushing positivity. So we're not going to go into a crazy bar breakdown of this album because we got a lot of other things to cover. But that I just wanted to shout out quick because that is hip hop, right? We rap about what we see, the reality, and then that comes through in the music. And the shit he's talking about is still happening, right? People busting caps. We still talking about being free. I know he mentions Mandela in this specifically, but we're still talking about freedom in various different ways. And we still fighting for it. We still out there. So that's definitely one anniversary album to shout out. Again, big ups to Tribe Called Quest, sir. Midnight Marauders. Happy 25th.
Happy 25th.
And we got another big 25th anniversary album this week. Enter the 36 Chambers.
Woo.
All right, Wu Tang's debut album turns 25 years old this week. Now that album holds a special memory for me.
Oh, definite.
Like, that was one of the first hip-hop CDs I remember hearing. Like, my aunt, who was, bumping hip-hop heavy when I was a kid, that was on rotation. That shit changed hip-hop. Like, that conglomerate, that group, there's never been anything like that ever since. Not a weak MC in the group.
Nope.
Who's your favorite out of the group?
I mean, I'm biased. I'm gonna stay with Method.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie. Method definitely he stood out, especially on 36 Chambers.
Yeah.
He had that solo joint, right? METHOD, man. His voice was definitely more recognizable at first than a lot of the members. He had a very identifiable voice
Out of
and
that
cadence.
Exactly. Out of that whole group, I mean, shouts out to everybody in that group. Is amazing, but Method just sticks out to me. Even solo careers, movies. Method is one of my top favorites.
Yeah, Method's up there for me. I think my favorites has to be a tie between Ghostface and GZA.
Yeah.
GZA didn't feature as much on this album. He didn't have as many verses as some of the other members, but I mean his first solo is one of my favorite albums of all time, the Liquid Swords, and he's just the most cerebral MC of Wu Tang. So GZA, man, if y'all been listening to the podcast, you've heard us break down, Lupe here and there. We had a whole episode dedicated to his latest album.
Yeah.
Drogas Wave. So GZA is kind of like that. Like his bars are just so cerebral, so deep, so crazy. And then Ghostface is just, Ghostface, man. Iron Man, Supreme Clientele. The whole Fish Scale series, More Fish. Storytelling's bananas. This man says things that like who thinks of those things? His cadence is just everything. Ghostface is a beast. So those are my two personal favorites. But on this album, I mean, again, classic, not a whack track on it. So being that Method Man is your favorite, I'm assuming Method Man was your favorite song on the album?
No, not necessarily. But it definitely is a favorite of mine.
So if you had to pick one track off 36 Chambers, which would be your go-to? What's
I'm going to have to let the track speak for me.
Word up. Cash rules everything around me.
I know everybody knows this.
I know a lot of you out there agree with me and G.
Yeah. I was hoping we was going to have a different song.
I mean, that's just a classic track.
Yeah,
bro.
the other thing too, as far as like relatability goes, like I feel that song.
Yeah.
And
it's still relevant today. Like a lot of artists still make references off Cream.
Hell yeah, just that. I mean, Cream is still out here. Cash rules everything around me.
Dollar bill, y'all.
Right. Raekwon too is. I mean, if I had to pick like a top 3 members of Wu Tang, Raekwon would be right there, number 3 with me, behind Ghostface and GZA. He kills this shit, but I actually think Inspector Deck's verse for me was better.
Yeah,
More relatable. I mean, it's more relatable to me, I guess. So a couple bars from Inspector Deck's, like he starts off, it's been 22 long, hard years. I'm still struggling. Survival got me bugging, but I'm alive on arrival. I peep at the shape of the streets and stay awake to the ways of the world, cause shit is deep. Right? That shit is hard. Like he's 22 years old when he's spitting this. So he's like, it's been a hard 22 years of life. He's struggling. He's peeping what's around him. He's staying awake to the ways of the world. So he's, learning about how the world really works. And he's like, shit is deep. And shit is deep. All right. And he goes on, a man with a dream with plans to make cream, which failed. I went to jail at the age of 15, a young buck selling drugs and such who never had much, trying to get a clutch at what I could not. The court played me short. Now I face incarceration, pacing, going upstate's my destination. So talking about his mistakes he made in life. Shit that, not me personally, I've never been in jail, thank God. But, others have struggled with that. And he goes on, though I don't know why I chose to smoke cess. I guess that's the time when I'm not depressed, but I'm still depressed. And I ask, what's it worth? Ready to give up. So I seek the old earth who explained, working hard may help you maintain to learn to overcome the heartaches and pain. Like, that's just real to me. Like,
so your top 3 is who?
My top 3 is Ghostface, GZA, and Ray. This verse I was just quoting was Inspector Deck, though. Inspector Deck's verse on Cream.
Okay, so Method Man, RZA, and I have to say Ghostface.
Yeah, I think Ghostface is in almost everybody's top 3 Wu members.
that would be my order.
Yeah. I'm with
again, all the artists, bro, they're all amazing. But my top 3.
Yeah, and RIP to ODB, man.
ODB, man, Old Dirty Bastard.
By the way, if y'all bored and y'all want to laugh, just look up ODB stories.
Yeah.
Because the stories I've heard of him, like other people tell, I just recently heard one story, like Joe Budden said on the Joe Budden podcast, that was hilarious about how the track he had with Mariah Carey, how he did one bar at a time. Like he would do a bar and then go to sleep.
What?
For like hours, and then they would have to wake him up, spit the other bar, and like punch it in. It was crazy. But yeah, every ODB story out there is hilarious. I've heard Fat Joe, on his show. I don't know if it's still on. He used to have it. I peeped a couple old episodes of, stories he's had of ODB, and Yeah, but I mean, hip hop was never the same. Wu Tang changed the whole landscape,
Oh yeah, definitely.
and so happy anniversary, Wu Tang
Word.
forever. Wu Tang is for the children. Oh, that's another thing. Wu Tang's coming out with a documentary
Yes, for the children.
for the children, so keep on the lookout for that. When that shit drops, we'll be sure to check it out, and we'll very likely talk about it here on the podcast when that time comes.
Definitely.
But yeah, bro, Wu Tang's for the children.
You know, speaking on that too briefly, I know Body came out on the theaters,
Yeah, I'm so mad I missed it.
and
Limited engagement.
we happened to miss it, but when it comes back on, and the moment we get a chance to check it out, we'll definitely review it and talk about that also on a future episode of the podcast.
Yeah. So for y'all who don't know, Bodied is a movie that had a limited screening or showing in theaters in certain cities. Unfortunately, here in New York, I knew about the movie. We learned about the actual showtimes too late, so we couldn't get it.
Yeah.
It'll be on YouTube Premium, I believe, sometime at the end of this month. So once it goes up there, we'll be sure to watch it and check it out. It's executive produced by Eminem. It's a battle rap movie, but interview from the Breakfast Club where two of the actors and the director, they really shed some light on what the real meaning behind the movie is.
Yeah, that interview was official.
Yeah, so being that it's battle rap, this battle rap is no hold bars, right? Nothing off limits. You say whatever you need to say to win the battle, right?
Oh, yeah.
You in somebody's face, you're gonna say the most craziest, wildest, disgusting, disrespectful thing you could possibly think of in the most creative way possible.
Exactly, that's the point. Most creative way possible.
Yeah. So with this, I love it is because we live in a very politically correct culture. Like everybody's scared to say certain things you say it, you looked at a certain way, whereas in battle rap it's completely opposite. So the statement that the crew from Body that was on the interview from Breakfast Club was talking about was that how this blows that away. And I've looked at some reviews of the movie, and they're really calling it like this politically correct movie, and it's getting great reviews, so I'm glad it's being received in that way.
Yeah,
I'm really mad I missed it, but once it comes available on YouTube, we're definitely gonna check that out and talk about that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what's addressed in that film. So if y'all don't know, check out Body, check out the trailers, check out some of the reviews, and keep an eye out for that for sure.
and speaking about Eminem,
Yes.
going into a 5th year anniversary, the Marshal MMLP2, which dropped sometime in November 2013.
Yeah, 5 years ago.
Wow. Looking at the album right now, I mean, from the deluxe edition art where it looks like he's sitting in the back of a Maybach or whatnot, staring back and reflecting on his old Detroit house.
The house that was on the cover of the first Marshall Mathers LP album.
You know what I'm saying? From the artwork to the tracks, real briefly touching base on that. What were some of your favorite tracks on the album?
Honestly, like this is one of the, if not the most underrated Eminem project out. It's one of my favorite Eminem projects, period.
I mean, I was a little too excited, with the nostalgia, hearing that Eminem was dyeing his hair blonde again and all that. Like, it sparked my interest.
It wasn't even the nostalgia, though. Like, the content on this
No,
album.
but I'm talking about from when I heard that it was dropping, and I heard, the rumors that the album was dropping. It was a Marshall Mathers LP2.
Yeah.
He's dyeing his hair blonde. And this is before we heard Berserk or any of the singles. So I was just like, oh, snap. And, again, you guys already know we're big Eminem fans. Favorite tracks on the album?
If I had to pick my absolute favorite track on this album, and it's one of my favorite Eminem songs, period, probably my second or third favorite Eminem song, period, is Legacy.
I mean, going from track 1 all the way down to the bonus, right? We got Bad Guy. You got a little snippet of the parking lot skit, continuation from the first one, right? Marshall Mathers LP.
Yeah.
Rhyme or Reason, which is a fun track. So Much Better, Survival. You got Legacy, which is an amazing track. Asshole, featuring one of our favorites, right? Skylar Grey. I know she's one of my favorites.
Yeah, her vocals. I love her features.
Berserk, right? You got that old school Beastie Boys feel. Rap God. I mean,
everybody knows that
we
song.
just started breaking records right there with Rap God. Brainless, Stronger Than I Was. Good motivational track, right?
Post-relationship.
The Monster featuring Rihanna, which is, we spoke about this before, is my favorite feature of Rihanna. Right? You got So Far, Love Game featuring Kendrick Lamar. Headlights again.
Yeah, another.
Again, talking about coming from the era of the Eminem show, cleaning out my closet, and all the anger towards his mom, and all that. Just to hear this album of, how would you describe it?
Headlights. I mean, if you wanna get into it a little bit more after we go through the track list real quick, but it's kind of like, if you listen to Cleaning Out My Closet, which is the first Eminem song I remember hearing and like really relating to. That's the song that hooked me on, and relating to that, and then growing in age,
so maturing
alongside
him.
Eminem's music, to then be at the point in my life and the point Eminem was in his life, and reading Headlights, I can reflect and be like, damn, Cleaning Out My Closet was definitely how I felt back then. But now, as I'm an older person, now as an adult looking back at everything, I could definitely relate to those feelings that he expresses about his mom's on Headlights. And anyone who's had, similar parental issues, who's grown, and matured and re-looked at relationships, like Headlights is just, that
amazing track.
Yeah.
But we'll touch more based on it in a minute. We have Evil Twin, which is amazing, right?
Goes off.
And then we go into the bonus, the deluxe, from the deluxe CD. You got Baby, Desperation, Groundhog Day, Beautiful Pain.
Another one of my
and Wicked Ways.
favorites. Beautiful Pain.
Going into the first track, right? Bad Guy.
Yeah, so it's
continuation of Stan.
Yeah, Stan 2.
All right, Stan's little brother, right?
Yeah.
Grown up now. Looking for, would you say, revenge?
Yeah, of course. So it starts out with the little brother kind of going to M's house, right? And trying to kidnap him and...
locks him in the back of a trunk.
Yeah.
And drives off the bridge kind of the same way that
Stan drove off with his wife.
With his
baby
wife.
Mom's in the back seat.
So now, his little brother, Stan's little brother is pretty much giving back Eminem the same taste of his medicine. And then it goes on to a deeper track at the end of it, right, where Eminem reflects, which is also an amazing track, continuing off that.
Yeah, he also makes references to lines from the first Marshall Mathers LP. There's constant references to the first Marshall Mathers LP on this, where I forget the exact line. I'm trying to find it now, but when he's taunting Eminem, so Eminem's like tied up in the trunk right now.
I like when he says, Eminem killed by Eminem, Matthew Mitchell, bitch, I even have your initials.
Yeah, that was tough.
I initially was going to bury you next to my brother, but fuck it. Since you love your city so much, I figured what the fuck, the best place you could be buried alive is right here. And then he talks about, I hope we don't get stopped, no license I fear. That sirens I hear, guess 90 on the freeway wasn't the brightest idea.
That was a reference back
to
the first Marshall Mathers LP. And then when he's driving, he says, we're in the car right now. Wait, here comes my favorite lyric. I'm the bad guy who makes fun of people that die. So this track is put full of references from the first LP. But yeah, verse 4, I want to get into a little bit because that's the one you referenced where he starts reflecting, right? And he says,
you can start right where he says, but in your head there's a voice in the back of it hollers, after the track is demolished, I am your lack of a conscience. I'm the ringing in your ears.
Well, even before that, he says, I also represent anyone on the receiving end of those jokes you offend. I'm the nightmare you fell asleep and then woke up still in. I'm your karma closing in with each stroke of a pen. Perfect time to have some remorse to show for your sin. Nope, it's hopeless. I'm the denial that you're hopelessly in. When they say all of this is approaching its end, but you refuse to believe that it's over, here we go all over again. So, in Eminem's heyday, he threw a lot of shots. He caused a lot of controversy. He said a lot of things. So now it's just like, oh, this is that karma coming back. And it doesn't matter that you're sorry now. It's too late. And then it's also questioning his place in hip-hop, his career, right? It's end, but you refuse to believe that it's over. So here we go all over again, also referencing this is Marshall Mathers LP2, so we're doing this again.
Then he says, after the track is demolished, I am your lack of a conscience, I'm the ringing in your ears. I'm your time that's almost up that you haven't acknowledged. Go grab some water, but I'm the pill that it's too jagged to swallow. I'm the bullies you hate that you become with every faggot you slaughtered. Coming back on you, every woman you insult there with the double standards you have when it comes to your daughters. I represent everything you take for granted.
Yeah, see that too I like, and that addresses a lot of Eminem's content that I feel like maybe people don't get because of the way he presents it. But this whole anti-bullying, this stand up for yourself message that M constantly has. So he's become that bully that he hates.
Yeah, and it's funny because as you sit back and you reflect on it as a fan, you can kind of relate. You can understand where he's coming from and say, oh, wow, you know what, M, at the end of the day, in the beginning, like, that was cool. It was funny. It was different. As you step back, though, and you hear what he's saying, you can actually be like, you know what, M, yeah, you was kind of like a bully, bro. Bully didn't sink.
Yeah.
Bully Britney Spears, bully Christina Aguilera, argued with a puppet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at that time, like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? But, like, I'm just saying, if you step back as a fan and see where he's coming from, you can relate to what he's acknowledging.
Yeah, I mean, even as a person, right? Because you know, the bullied becomes the bully. You let the anger take over, and you become that to fight it, right? So it's also that reflection. But yeah, bad guy, and just the imagery, the double entendres in here is crazy. Like when he's talking about, you know, when he's peeping through the window.
So, where he also says, so I sneak vengefully and treat your bedroom window like I reached my full potential. I peeked, because he's reaching his full potential and peeked as if he's peeking into the window. Right. Continue to peep, still bent low. Keep taps the glass slightly, and then starts the crescendo, which is getting louder, right? So
yeah, like an increase in intensity or noise.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's bad guy. Great close to the Stan story. I also have this theory. Let me know if anybody's rocking with me. If anybody remembers Guilty Conscious, the kid who he's arguing with Dre about sleeping with the girl at the party, his name is Stan.
Mm-hmm.
So my crazy fan theory is that's the same Stan, and that girl that he slept with raw, because Eminem convinced him to do that, to hit it raw, might be the baby moms and Stan. That's my crazy fan theory. Let me know if y'all rolling.
That's actually interesting. If you guys agree with G's theory, leave a comment in the comment section below.
Yeah. But yeah, Bad Guy was great. So my favorite track on this album, Legacy.
Definitely, I have to say it's one of my favorites too.
So fucking relatable. Content is crazy here. Bars is crazy. So he starts from the top. We're gonna do some bar breakdowns for Legacy. He says, I used to be the type of kid that would always think the sky is falling. Why am I so differently wired? Am I a Martian? What kind of twisted experiment am I involved in? Because I don't belong in this world. That's why I'm scoffing at authority, defiant often. First of all, the rhyme scheme is ridiculous.
Flying off at the handle with my mom, no dad, so I'm non-compliant at home. At school, I'm just shy and awkward.
And I don't need no goddamn psychologist trying to diagnose why I have all these underlying problems. I mean, this is so relatable.
Yeah.
To any kid who's like been through shit. Like I listened to the song and I'm like, damn, this is my childhood.
Yeah.
Like
it's so, and again, relatable for us. And I know a lot of other kids go through life in school or whatnot and have that. They feel the same way, like
I always think the sky's falling, so they always think everything is not going well. Everything is, it's negative. Everything around them is just like, damn, something's always going down, and he's like, why am I so different? Because when you go through stuff and, you look at the world a different way. You look at things differently. And he says, because I don't belong in this world. That's why he's scoffing at authority, defiant often. So that's why he's always... We're okay, people. Mm-hmm. So that's why he's always going against authority because of these feelings. And a lot of kids who do act out is because of these underlying issues, right? And you don't need a psychologist. Like, we know why we're this way.
Yeah, bro. A lot of people are just loners. Some people just don't like big crowds. Some people like to be, by themselves. And, some people just don't understand that.
And then the rest of this verse...
Well, you could go right out to the ending, right? I had a bad day at school, so I ain't talking. Some fucking cocksucker shoved me into a fucking locker because he said that I eyeballed him. So there he goes again, referencing being bullied. And he just pretty much stays in his own world. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. And, he just continues, verse 2. I used to be the type of kid that would always think the sky's falling. Again, same line that he continues with that theme. Why am I so differently wired in my noggin? Because sporadic as my thoughts come, it's mind-boggling. Because I obsess on everything in my mind. Small shit bothers me, but not my father. He said sayonara, then split. But I don't give a shit. I'm fine long as there's batteries in my Walkman. Again, how relatable is that? Like, we don't give a fuck. It's when we got music. Like, that's what got us through.
That's relatable so much on my part.
Hell yeah.
Music is the scapegoat, bro. Put your music on and zone out depending on your feelings. And I think Em even talks about it on Eminem show, Sing for the Moment.
Yeah, and that's why hip-hop is so powerful, again, because it's the voice of,
what I'm saying?
For us, for the people who go through shit, who, hip-hop talks about real shit, whether it's things in your neighborhoods, whether it's things inside your mind, your personal life, and things that people could really relate to, which is why hip hop is now the most popular music genre, in the country. There's a reason for that. Because people relate, they feel what's being portrayed in these lyrics.
He goes on to talking about, again, getting bullied and why even bother fighting. But then he starts it off where he says, but I think a light bulb just lit up in my conscience. What about those rhymes I've been jotting? They kind of giving me confidence. Instead of trying to escape through my comics, why don't I blast a little something like Onyx? All right, so for those who don't know, Onyx was a group.
Yeah, classic hip hop group, founded in 1988. But yeah, they were really influential in that time. And Eminem actually had a track with their member Sticky Fingers on the first Marshal LP on Remember Me, which is cool because you get this reference now, like, oh, Eminem, that's who he used to blast, and he actually ended up making a track with one of their MCs from Onyx later on. But even that, right, trying to escape through my comics, like, I was a big comic book fan when I was a kid.
We still are, bro.
Still are, and that was a super relatable line. And then the whole thing he's talking about, right, where he's just like a light bulb lit up in my conscience, like you said, and then he's realizing, oh, what about these rhymes? That could be anything for any person. Like, once you realize, oh, shit, I'm good at this, or, oh, I like to do this, then you can start putting your energy towards doing that.
And then he goes, say what I want to say to the kid that said that I eyeballed them. Grab hold of my balls like, that's right, fight's on, bitch. Who would have knew from the moment I turned on the mic on, I could be iconic in my conquest.
So it's a Phife Dawg from A Tribe Called Quest. So Phife was one of the lead MCs from Tribe Called Quest. So he's like, yo, who would have known I could be iconic like, Phife from Tribe or whatever. And again, this whole message of, he grew up in this fucked up childhood with this crazy life, these crazy thoughts, always feeling out of place. And so he finds something that he can put his energy towards. Like something he loved to do, something he was good at. And that could be, everybody once they find that, what I'm saying, to make your situation better.
In the third verse, he goes back on again where I used to be a kid, right? And then he goes, now that I think the fact that I'm differently wired's awesome, because if I wasn't, I wouldn't be able to work words like this and connect lines like crosswords and use my enemies' words as strengths to try and draw from and get inspired off them. Because all my life I was told and taught I am not shit by you whack fucking giant sacks of lying dog shit. Now you shut up, bitch. I am talking. Thought I was full of horse shit and now you fucking worship the ground in which I am walking.
Yeah, again, crazy rhyme schemes are ridiculous.
Like the story.
This is why Eminem is so great. And I don't understand how people can say he just... doesn't rap about anything.
I guess, because the people who can't relate are the people who don't like him are the people who can't relate. Can't understand, been in those shoes.
Even if you can't relate, he's telling a story, whether you can relate to it or not.
I see, me, you, and I'm pretty sure, if not all the listeners listen to us can understand where we're coming from, right? We respect the craft. We respect the storytelling. We respect the content. And it's even more of an extra sprinkles on the cake if you could relate.
Yeah, I mean, again, also to be able to rhyme like this, to put this much technique and wordplay and everything, and then stay on a topic for 16 bars, not hopping from one thing to the other, because it's easy to rhyme words if, 2 bars you're talking about this, then you flip, a couple bars you talk about something else, flip. But to stay on a subject, to tell a cohesive story and have this level of technical skill is bananas. And again, what he's talking about, right? Like, now he realizes, oh, what made me different makes me fucking awesome. Like, it makes me great.
And now everybody, whoever probably picked on him in the past or whatever, is like, yo, I love Eminem.
And that's a great message, again, to any person out there who's felt this way and then who's found what they're good at or their calling, whatever you want to call it. And then you could recognize, oh, all those things that made you different growing up is kind of what made you what you are now, or what you will be if you haven't found that yet. You know what I'm saying? So again, the message is great. It's just crazy. And then he goes off. He keeps going.
He's like, it's the body game bag, bitch. I'm supplying coffins because you dicks butt kiss. You don't respect the legacy I leave behind. Y'all can suck a dick the day you beat me. Pigs will fly up my ass.
Flying saucer full of
Italian sausage.
Yeah. So that whole last verse is just a pretty much big fuck you to everybody. The legacy solidified. But the story he tells here, from his experiences as a kid, is one of my favorite tracks of all time. Really, Legacy is really, really relatable. Again, The next track we're gonna get into is one that's close to our hearts. So again, that's really, really relatable. Well, he has Brainless, which is another song about bullying. Check that out. He's a little bit more technical in that track. Bars for days throughout this whole album. But again, we're gonna jump to Headlights now. Ooh. Which is his song to his mom, kind of trying to bury the hatchet and like reconcile, right? Featuring Nate Roos, who was the lead singer for a group, Fun, yeah, which was popping.
We are young.
Around the time this album came out. Yeah, exactly. That was their song.
So it starts off, right? Mom, I know I let you down. And though you say the days are happy, why is the power off? And I'm fucked up. Mom, I know he's not around. But don't you place the blame on me as you pour yourself another drink. And I guess we are who we are. Headlights shining in the dark night, I drive on. Maybe we took this too far.
Let's break down that hook. That hook is way deeper than I thought it was. Right? So he's saying to his mom, pretty much, you know, I know I fucked up. I know I hurt you. I know I let you down. And you're saying things are happy, but, you know, power's off and I'm fucked up. So, you know, lights out. It could also mean, you know, the power's off in that relationship. Like there's no connection. Power, connection.
Well, there's no more communication.
Right, and I'm fucked up. So does he mean that he's fucked up as a person, or like literally fucked up?
He could mean like
under the influence of something.
The damage is done, and you know the situation left him fucked up.
Yeah, emotionally, mentally, and then he says, you know, Mom, I know he's not around, referring to his father not being around, but don't you place the blame on me as you pour yourself another drink. So that again, M struggle with his mom pretty much blaming him for his pops not being around, and his mother struggle with alcohol. And then I guess we are who we are, so we can't change who we are, right? After a certain point. And headlight shining in the dark night, I drove on. So that's, to me, that's like a metaphor for moving on past everything, maybe with the headlights on, that light, that hope for a brighter future as you move on. Maybe. That's my like super stretched take on it.
It's a good one. I mean, it's open for interpretation,
and
right?
Maybe we took this too far.
Yeah. So that's, I take that as M, talking to himself about it. Like, maybe, his mom and him, the lawsuits, the arguing, the diss tracks and miscommunication.
Yeah, all the damage.
Maybe he's like, as he sits back and looks at it, we maybe we took this too far.
Yeah. So the first verse.
Man, I went in head first, never thinking about what I said hurt in what verse. My mom probably got it the worst. And everybody, all my Eminem fans know, cleaning out my closet is going to be a lot of points that we're going to bring to this song. He says a lot of things, and a lot of other tracks too, where he talks about his mother, but mainly cleaning out my closet. He says a lot of maybe what you could say hurtful things, or he sheds light into a lot of situations. And at this time, he realizes that his mother is sick, and it wasn't something intentional that she would do. But at that time, when he was young, being told that he was sick when he wasn't, and
yeah, and he goes into that in this verse, right? So if we skip down a little bit, he does mention cleaning out my closet, but he says
cleaning out my closet and all the mother songs.
Yeah.
But regardless, I don't hate you, cause Ma, you're still beautiful to me because you're my mom.
Though far be it from you to be calm, our house was Vietnam, Desert Storm, and both of us put together could form an atomic bomb, equivalent to chemical warfare, and forever we could drag this on, but agree to disagree. That gift for me. Up under the Christmas tree don't mean shit to me. Right? So he's talking about, in a very, metaphoric, kind of like poetic way, the hostility of the relationship between him and his mom. Though far be it for you to be calm, saying like, it wasn't like you to ever be calm. Right? The house was a war zone.
Arguments.
Vietnam, Desert Storm. Both of them together form an atomic bomb. So when they get together, they would bump heads. It'd be this, this explosion of emotions, of everything. and and they could go on forever, but they need to agree to disagree. Is what the conclusion M is coming to, and then he remembers a time, for Christmas, that he was like, "Yo, that gift you gave me doesn't mean anything to him. Like that's not what he wants."
You're kicking me out? 15 degrees and it's Christmas Eve? Ma, let me grab my fucking coat. Why we always at each other's throats? Especially when dad, he fucked us both. We in the same fucking boat. You think that'll make us close,
Nope.
but further away it drove us.
Right? So that's a struggle a lot of broken homes have that we could definitely relate to, and everyone who's experienced that can relate to, right? Like you would think a parent leaving a situation, you think the child and the remaining parent would be closer, but a lot of times that relationship is volatile because there's mixed emotions everywhere, right? For both parties. So M is saying, we're in the same fucking boat. Like both him and his moms were fucked over by their dad. And that drove them apart instead of bringing them together. Right? Because there was blame and whatever feelings come involved in those situations. If you've been through that, you can, relate and know what your own personal feelings have been. If you were in that situation. But just a really powerful way to put something that a lot of people have gone through or go through.
Then Nate got taken away by the state at 8 years old. That's when I realized you were sick.
And it wasn't fixable or changeable. And to this day, we remain estranged, and I hate it, though. So he acknowledges, to this day, him and his mom don't speak. They're estranged because of everything. But he does finally realize that she had a condition. She was sick, and there was no fixing that. So it took him time to grow and mature to kind of look back at things and be like, oh, I understand that now. And that's real talk. Right? Like when you grow, you become an adult, you experience things. Once you reach a certain level of maturity, you look back at certain situations in your life. Though in those moments, especially when you're young and you're a teenager, you just pissed off at everything, and especially when on top of normal teen angst and normal teen experiences, and you got a fucked up home situation to deal with. A lot of times you can't see outside of that, of what you're in. Plus, you're in the middle of it. But as you grow out of that situation, become an adult, and you look back on it, you can understand the decisions your parents have made, and maybe you can come to forgive or understand what they've done and why they did it. It just comes with maturity and adulthood, comes a whole different perspective on a lot of things that you go through when you're younger and in those situations. So this song addresses a lot of this. He talks about how he regrets not letting his mom see the growth of his daughters, right? He says, he starts the second verse with how he ended the first one, because to this day we remain estranged, and I hate it though, because you ain't even get to witness your grandbabies grow. But I'm sorry, mama, for cleaning out my closet at the time I was angry. Rightfully, maybe so. So that what I was just talking about, right? When you're in those moments, you're angry, but like rightfully, maybe it's hard to judge when you're in those situations and in those moments, especially when you're young going through it. And he continues, never meant that far to take it though, because now I know it's not your fault, and I'm not making jokes. That song I no longer play at shows, and I cringe every time it's on the radio. So he's cleaning out my closet out of his repertoire. Like he doesn't even recognize that song anymore. He doesn't want to.
Or the medicine you fed us, and how I just wanted you to taste your own, but now the medication's taking over and your mental state's deteriorating slow. And I'm way too old to cry. That shit is painful though. But ma, I forgive you. So does Nathan, yo. Or you did. Or you said you did your best to raise us both. Foster care, that cross you bear. Few may be as heavy as yours, but I love you, Debbie Mathers. Oh, what a tangled web we have, cuz.
One thing I never asked was where the fuck my deadbeat dad was. So again, that comes with this growth out of the situation, right? Looking back, saying, damn, it was fucked up, but at the end of the day, my mom's did everything she possibly could do.
Yeah.
And you, again, when you're young, you're a teen, you're growing up, you don't see that until you're an adult and you look back at it. And he recognizes, I never asked for my pops, which means obviously I was getting enough from you. I was just too angry and whatever other feelings I was in, on top of all these other situations, to recognize that in those moments. And then he continues, right? Fuck it. I guess he had trouble keeping up with every address, but I'd have flipped every mattress, every rock and desert cactus on the collection of maps and followed my kids to the edge of the atlas. So he chalks it up like maybe my dad did try to find us, but we was always moving. But at the same time, fuck it, because if my kids were taken away from me, I'm flipping over the world to find them.
Someone
right?
never moved them from me. That you could bet your asses. If I had to come down the chimney dressed as Santa, kidnap him. Then he goes back to all. And although one has met their grandma, once you put up in the drive one night as we were leaving to get some hamburgers.
Yeah, so he's just describing the last interaction he remembers having one of his daughters meet his mom, right?
Me, her, and Nate, we introduced you, hugged you. And as you left, I had this overwhelming sadness come over me. As we pulled off to go our separate paths, and I saw your headlights as I looked back, and I'm mad that I didn't get the chance to thank you for being my mom and my dad. Please accept this as a tribute. I wrote this on the jet. I guess I had to get this off my chest. I hope I get to play it down before I'm dead. The stewardess said to fasten my seatbelt. I guess we're crashing. So if I'm not dreaming, I hope you get this message that I would always love you from afar because you're my mom.
Yeah, so that's again this beautiful like apology pretty much at the end of it, right? So again, super emotional song, especially for those who can relate on a personal level. Definitely tugs at the heartstrings and just beautifully written. And one of the better songs on this album for sure. But next, to switch gears a little bit, we want to go into Eminem going into battle mode in Evil Twin, which is one of the most bar-heavy tracks.
Oh, hell yeah.
On here. One of the most... I mean, technically, I feel like Marshall Mathers LP2 is technically one of his best albums. When you're talking about rhyme schemes, wordplay, metaphors, it's crazy. And this is a prime example of that, right? So I'm gonna look for some of his more potent bars. All right, the first verse, a little bit down, he says, grim in every stranger in a place while I gaze into space, cause I'm mentally rearranging his face.
One of my favorite bars right there.
Right? I need a change of pace, cause the pace I'm working at's dangerous. There's no way to dump this anger, and thanks to this angst, I done quit chicken heads cold turkey and started slowly roasting them, cause that's where most of my anger is based.
Ooh.
Love those, right?
Break it down real quick.
Yes, I done quit chicken heads cold turkey. So
Cold
chicken
turkey.
heads, right? These stupid hoes, these stupid bitches out here. Quit them cold turkeys, done with them, not fucking with them no more, right? And he started slowly roasting them. So he constantly roasts women in his records, right? He has this misogynist label to him, but he speaks on that based on women that he's dealt with and his experiences. All my fellow man out there, we know we've dealt with these women. We know how we felt. We could relate. No, we're not misogynists, but we understand the anger sometimes when you get played. And, so that's what he's talking about. He started slowly roasting women because that's where most of his anger is based. So based is a double entendre right there. He's talking about literally that's where most of his anger is based in his dealings with women and his relationship issues. That's where most of his anger comes from. But also the reference to, referring to women as a chicken head and basting a chicken, because that's where most of my anger is based, because he quit the chicken heads cold turkey. So that whole play on words I thought was slick. And the rhyme scheme's crazy. And then the following line's hilarious. Fuck your feelings, I feel like I play for the Saints. I just want to hurt you. So during that period in the NFL, they had that whole controversy with the Saints putting hits on players and stuff. So that was a reference to that. And he goes on, that aim for all these fake Kanye's, Jay's, Wayne's, and the Drakes. So, everybody was trying to be Kanye. Was trying to be Jay, Wayne, Drake. Like, he's aiming at all of them. And then this is a reference to the first Marshall Mathers LP, right? I'm frustrated because ain't no more In Sync. Now I'm all out of whack.
I'm all out of Backstreet
Boys to call out and attack. So, he used to go at a lot of pop artists back in his heyday. He's just like, that stuff doesn't exist anymore. So where else is he going to, put this anger out? Oh, and this is another crazy, crazy bar right here, right? He says, right, he comes in, I believe people can change, but only for the worse. But I think it's hilarious. I could have changed the world if it wasn't for this verse. So satanic, Kmart chains panic, because they can't even spin back the curse words, because they worse when they reverse, motherfucker. And these kids are like parrots. They run around the house just like terrorists, screaming, fuck, shit, fuck. Adult with the childish like arrogance. Right? Love that shit. People can change, but only for the worse. I just think that's a funny-ass line, which is half true.
Yes.
And then, he talks about his content, right? Kmart chains panned. Like, you know, people didn't want to put his CDs on shelves, and then hit the shelves, and then he had little kids running around repeating all the curses he was saying, right? And then he says, "Wild ever since the day I came out, I was like, merits? Fuck that. I'd rather be loud and I like swearing." So he's like, yo, fuck the awards from the jump. Like, fuck the merits. He just wants to be loud, make his noise, right? And then we'll jump to the second verse where I feel like this song, each verse it gets better and better. Like, each verse is just crazy.
Hit me.
So he comes in, right? "My album's just sicker than strep with the fever. Get the chloroseptic, Excedrin, Aleve, or extra strength Tylenol 3s. Feel like I'm burning to death, but I'm freezing. Bedridden and destined never to leave the bedroom ever again, like the legend of Heath or Ledger. My suicide note's barely legible. Read the bottom, is signed by the Joker." Love those lines, right? My album's sicker than strep with the fever. Obviously, right? He's sicker than strep. And then he's like, yo, get all these medicines, because he feels like he's burning to death. Like, metaphorically, he's so hot, he's burning to death, like, from the shit he's spitting.
And just the way he puts those pills and the references together.
Yeah, again, the rhyme schemes. Then he says, "But I'm freezing." He's cold. He's cold with his lyrics. He's, you know what I'm saying? So that wordplay of "I'm burning to death" with the whole fever, but he's freezing, but I'm cold. And then bedridden. Then he makes the reference to Heath Ledger, right? Destined to never leave the bedroom again. Like, he's gonna die in that bedroom. Like the legend of Heath Ledger. My suicide note's barely legible. Read the bottom, is signed by the Joker. A play on, obviously, Heath Ledger's death by overdose, which was often attributed to him playing the role of the Joker in The Dark Knight, right?
Amazing movie.
Amazing movie. R.I.P. Heath Ledger. This was just a really dope reference to that. And then the psychology of the Joker and that character, making that reference, my suicide note was signed by the Joker, and kind of relating that to M's persona, the Slim Shady persona, I think was dope. And then he continues, and he starts going off. He said, "They were sleeping, I made them stop snoring. Made them break out the popcorn. Now I've been hopping this tip-top form since NWA was blaring through my car windows, leaning on the horn, screaming, 'Fuck the police,' like cop porn." Right? That simile was clever. And then, you know, they were sleeping. I made them stop snoring. So people were sleeping on him, but, he
woke him up.
Yeah, he woke him up. He showcased his skills. Right? Flipped rap on its ear like I dropped corn. Like a ear of corn. Flipped it. Mm-hmm. Got it. "Fuck top 5, bitch. I'm top 4. And that includes Biggie and Pac. Whore. And I got an evil twin. So who the fuck you think that third and that fourth spot's for?" Woo! That shit was hard. When I heard that, I was like, oh, nasty, right? So his evil twin, you got Eminem and Slim Shady. And then Biggie and Pac. And that's his top 4. That's it. Like, nobody better.
And as crazy as I am, I'm much more tamer than him. And I'm nuts. Then again, who the fuck wants to play Eminem?
Right? So that's a play on M&M's, right? The nuts.
Yeah.
The nut M&M's and then the regular M&M's. Pause.
But no one's insaner than Slim. Look at that evil grin. Please come in. What was your name again?
So
hi.
Right? So when he says hi, he switches. So this whole time he was talking about from the persona of Eminem, which is why he says, as crazy as I am, I'm much tamer than him, referring to Slim Shady,
his other persona.
Right? And then Slim Shady
he
comes
goes,
in.
"Hi, faggots. Look who's back with a crab up his ass, like a lobster crawled up there, 2 rabbits and a koala bear and a ball of hair, and you all aware ain't got it all upstairs. Guess that's why I'm an addict."
Peace to Whitney. Jeez, it just hit me.
"That I should call the loony police to come get me, cause I'm so sick of being the truth. I wish somebody finally admit me.
Oh, I was hard.
In a mental hospital with Britney. Oh, LMFAO, no way, ho." Like he
all right, he just stops. He starts dropping crazy references, right? So, cause I'm so sick of being the truth. I wish someone finally admit me. That was just hard. Like the whole, I'm so sick, someone should admit me to like a hospital, but like I'm sick of being the truth. I wish someone finally admit me. So like nobody likes admitting the truth. Crazy. Mental hospital with Britney. I think this was the time Britney was shaving her head and shit. She was going crazy. And then LMFAO, no way Jose Baez couldn't beat this rap. So Jose Baez is a member of LMFAO, that rap group that I believe was popping during this period
every day I'm shuffling.
Yeah, those guys. So he was just like, yo, they can't beat this rap. Right? And I think they were popping at the time.
Yeah.
And then he says, he goes off, "I'm off the hook like Casey Anthony." That's a disgusting bar, bro.
Tell the people who don't know who Casey Anthony is.
So Casey Anthony was indicted in 2008 by a grand jury on charges of first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, aggravated manslaughter of a child, and 4 counts of providing false information to police.
Wow. I guess now we helped you understand that bar a little bit.
Yeah, so that I'm off the hook by Casey Anthony, and Casey Anthony had all those charges. That's
They dropped the charges? She didn't get...
I don't know. I mean...
I'm going to assume that they found her not guilty.
Yes, she was found not guilty. That's crazy. So that makes that bar even harder, right? Like, yo, M's getting crazy and he's off the hook like Casey Anthony. And so he says, hey, ho, like he knows he just wild out. And then these bars are funny too. He says, what you think? I'm looking for romance because I'm lonely? Change that tune. You ain't got a remote chance to control me. Right? So change that tune, remote chance to control me, like a remote control, changing tunes. Right, double entendres there like crazy. I'm only vulnerable when I got a boner. Superman trying to fuck me over, it won't hurt. Don't try to fix me, I'm broke, so I don't work. So are you, but you're broke because you don't work.
Just a play on words, different meanings, but you get the gist.
Yeah, I mean, there's mad meanings there. It could be like, you know, broke as a person, broke and like monetarily broke, so you don't work as in you don't have a job. You also don't work as you're not a functioning human being. Like, yo,
you know,
just goes in. But all the bullshit aside, I hit a stride. Still shady inside. Hair every bit as dyed as it used to be when I first introduced y'all to my skittish side and blamed it on him when they tried to criticize, because we are the same, bitch.
So
right?
He's admitting at the end that
M and Slim Shady are one and the same. But yeah, Evil Twin is crazy. That's like, you know, a top pedigree M bars.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
And then I guess our next favorite track that we're gonna get into is Beautiful Pain,
featuring Sia.
Yes, loved her on the hook. And this is definitely, again, this is Eminem in his heartbreak bag.
Second track? Was that the second track together? Because we had
Stronger Than I Was.
Guts Over Fear.
Guts Over Fear was on the Shady.
But it was Sia.
It was Sia, yes.
That was, I think, the first. No, this was the first track that they had together. Beautiful.
This was the first one, because the Shady 15 compilation album was what Guts Over Fear was from, and that was after this.
So together they collabed twice.
Yeah.
And I must say I love both collabs.
Yeah. I think this one, I like this one more, personally.
I can't choose between both of them. They both have a strong, powerful message behind it.
For sure. But, yeah, Beautiful Pain. It's, I mean, just the title is, you know, the beauty of a pain after a breakup. And it might seem oxymoronic. It might seem like those two things don't go together. But as we go through the song and the message, I mean, I love this song. It's super relatable. I've thrown this song on many times.
I make sure when I'm visiting the Marshal MMLP2, I do visit this song before the album's over with.
So he starts off with the first verse with this crazy imagery of rebuilding after a storm, with the storm being a metaphor for obviously a past relationship, right? So he starts, yesterday was the tornado warning. Today's like the morning after. Your world is torn in half. You wake in its wake to start the mourning process, and rebuilding, you're still a work in progress. That shit's crazy. So yesterday was a tornado warning. Today's like the morning after. So after the storm, right? Your world is torn in half. You just, you know, went through something. You broke up. So your world is literally torn in half, right? And you wake in its wake to start the mourning process. So you wake up in its wake, like, you know, when something dies, you go to a wake. When someone dies, this is the wake for that relationship that's now over. And then the mourning process, like you wake up in the morning, but that morning also means mourning as in time of day, and also mourning as in being, you know, you're in mourning, you're sad and over something, which in this case is, again, this relationship. Yo, that shit's crazy.
Yeah.
Again, that wordplay, the rhyme schemes, like, it's right. And rebuilding, you're still a work in progress. So realizing even after this, you're going to rebuild, but you still need to work on yourself, right? You're still a work in progress. And this is where he starts, you know, talking about that whole rebuilding process. So, today's a whole new chapter, he says. It's like an enormous asthma thunderstorm has passed you. You weathered it and poked its eye out. So... You weathered it and poked its eye out. It's talking about a storm. So, you know, the eye of the storm. So you weathered through the storm and you poke the eye out. The eye is like the strongest part of the storm. So you pass that, like you beat it. That was just a very clever way to put that. Like, you know, and then he continues with this beautiful imagery, man. Like with the thorn bush that you use to smell the roses. Stop to inhale, can't even tell your nose is stuffed. So focused on the bright side, then you floor the gas pedal and hit the corner fast. The more asserted, never looking back. So, you know, this thorn bush, they used to smell the roses. So you used to only see the roses, you ignored the thorns. Right? You would stop to inhale it, but you didn't realize your nose was stuffed. So this is a crazy, crazy metaphor.
Also, he just wants to get as far away from the disaster as possible and move on to a brighter day. Right. So he drives as fast as he can away from the destruction.
Yeah. But while he's smelling the roses, right, he says you're so focused on the bright side. Then you floor the gas pedal and hit the corner fast, right? Never looking back. So that's to your point. You know, you realize, look, I'm smelling roses, but it's a thorn bush. Like, there's thorns here. It's not just all roses, and you can't tell your nose is stuffed. So you can't realize that you can't smell the roses anymore, or maybe you could never smell the roses, and you just never realized it. And then once he does realize it, oh, well, you know, because you're so focused on the positive things in a relationship, you ignore everything else. Yes. You ignore the thorns. You ignore the fact that, oh, I don't smell this anymore. Maybe I never could. I was just drawn in by the beauty of the rose, right?
See what you want.
Exactly. And then once he realizes it, to R's point, pedal to the metal, you out. Right? And he says, you may hit the curb, but every day is a new learning curve. As you steer through life, sometimes you may not want to swerve. That's a beautiful life lesson right there. Right? So you may hit the curb. So you may hit a few bumps. Not every turn you hit is going to be smooth. You're going to go through stuff. But every day is a new learning curve. So every day you just got to learn and keep trying to do better as you're steering through life. So this whole metaphor of, you know, driving on the road and you know, swerves and you know, the curves, the crazy turns life takes. And then, you know, sometimes you may not want to swerve, but you have to avert a disaster. Lucky, no permanent damage. So you might not want to change course.
Yeah.
Right? You're in something. You only see the good in it. You don't see the other sides of it. You know, change is difficult for a lot of people. Moving on is difficult for a lot of people. It's hard to make that switch. It's hard to make that swerve, as M puts it. But he goes on and says you have to avert a disaster. Lucky, no permanent damage. So if you do make that swerve, right, you can avoid something detrimental and luckily avoid like permanent damage. Or you could stay on that road, which could result in potential permanent damage. And then he goes on, because they hurt you so bad, it's like they murdered your ass and threw dirt on your casket, but you've returned from the ashes. And the hurt that you have, you just converted to gasoline. And while you're burning the past, stand in the inferno and chant, and then they go into the hook, right? So that's another beautiful thing.
And the hook, right? It says, side, I'm standing in the flames. It's a beautiful kind of pain. Setting fire to yesterday. Find the light, find the light, find the light. Again, I'm standing in flames. It's a beautiful kind of pain. Setting fire to yesterday. Find the light, find the light, find the light.
Yeah, so you set fire on yesterday. They hurt you so bad. It's like they murdered your ass, right? So you like, they hurt you so bad you're dead. Like you're numb, you don't feel nothing anymore, right? They threw dirt on your casket to return from the ashes, so that, again, the beauty in the pain, right? So you go through this and then you're coming back stronger, right? Because you turn that hurt into gasoline, what M says, right? And then while you're burning past, and it goes into the hook. So it's that beautiful pain. You're standing in the flames, but it's a beautiful kind of pain. Because you're getting rid of the past and you're moving forward, hopefully, to like a better you and a better future.
Moving on to the second verse. And it's as though you feared you died, because once you've been killed inside, but yet you're still alive, which means you will survive. All right, back to that. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. He's saying that, you know, everything that you've been through may have killed you inside, like emotionally.
Yeah.
But you're still standing, which means you're gonna get through it.
Yeah. And then he continues, right? Although today you may weep because you're weakened, and everything seems so bleak and hopeless, the light that you're seeking, it begins to seep in. That's the only thing keeping you from leaping off the mother freaking deep end. Yo, again, just the rhyme schemes. I can't. Yo, M is just a master at this. But you know, in the situation, in direct aftermath of a breakup or anything, you feel weak, you feel sad, you're weeping. You feel worthless almost sometimes if it's that crazy, and everything seems bleak. But the light that you're looking for will begin to come in, right? So the light, and that's, I guess, why he uses this metaphor as a fire, right? You're saying fire,
Yeah.
from to yesterday, let that light to come in to guide you, and it's that light that's the only thing keeping you from like going crazy, right? That hope that you have. And then M goes on to this message to his fans, to the listeners. He says, "And I'm pulling for you to push through this feeling, and with a little time that should do the healing. And by tomorrow you may even feel so good that you're willing to forgive him, even after all the shit you've been put through." I love that when M's like, he's talking to you, to the listener, to the fans. Like, yo, I'm pushing for you to get through whatever you going through, right? Even after all the shit, you know what I'm saying? Like this feeling of resilience is building, and the flames are burning quick as fire would through this building. That's a crazy double entendre. Quick as fire would through this building. So he's saying, that flame that's gonna push you past this, it's burning quick as fire would through a building, literally, and also like firewood. Like firewood burning.
Mm-hmm.
That was a dope double entendre there. And then, you're sealed in, but you're fireproof, flame retardant. You withstood it. And as you climb up to the roof, you're just chilling. You look down, because you're so over them, you could put the heel of your foot through the ceiling.
That's his play on being over somebody.
Yeah, right? Like, now first of all, you've been in the flame, right? So now you're flame retardant. Like, you've been hurt, so you can't be hurt like that again. Because you got through it. So now you're more resilient. And then, his play on words would bring over someone. He's in the roof. You're on the roof. You're just looking down on this shit. Like, yo, I'm over this.
Then I have this thing, bro, where M sings.
Yeah.
And I love it, bro. I love it. And the bridge where he goes, "As time passes, things change every day, but wounds heals, but scars still remain the same. But tomorrow's day's going down in flames. Throw the match and set the past ablaze."
Yeah, love that. Again, right? As time passes, things change every day. You never know what's gonna happen tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like, life is
heal,
crazy.
But scars, they remain in the same.
Yeah, that's a little sad, but again, tomorrow's going down in flames. Throw the match, set the past ablaze. I mean, we all have scars, but the wounds will heal. Like, it's not gonna be open forever. You'll heal, you'll cover, you'll move on, you'll move forward, and that's pretty much the message of this song. Beautiful imagery, beautiful metaphors, really poetic. The rhyme scheme's crazy. Message is amazing. So anybody who's ever been through a rough breakup, going through a rough breakup, if you're listening to this, going through something crazy, throw on this song. This song I've definitely thrown it on a few times. Relatable, real.
It's just a beautiful track, and
Yeah.
again, man, the content, the word craft, the way he puts the words together, man, and the story, and again, Sia on the hook.
Yeah, see, his voice is amazing.
She's an amazing artist.
But yeah, so those are our favorite tracks and some bar breakdowns from our favorite tracks for the Marshall Mathers LP2. Again, super underrated album.
Yep.
I feel like it's one of Eminem's better albums in his discography, period. We've had these conversations.
Real brief, we're going to get into it real quick. I have this thing, the way G and I, myself, like, rate albums. I already have the album that's, like, set in stone, and that's the Eminem Show. And nothing's going to surpass it, no matter what. Whether it's the nostalgia or whatever of that album is classic to my heart. It possibly could be my second or third album, Marshall Mathers LP2. Recovery is up there. Kamikaze.
That's higher than it was the last time I spoke to you about this album.
Kamikaze is there. We spoke about this briefly. It was the Berserk track that, it came out. I liked it, but it was just something about it that I guess, and I have this thing where I set like expectations for artists, and I'm expecting a certain sound. I'm expecting something, and it wasn't delivered. Like, if he maybe would have released Rap God first, I may have had different feelings about it from the beginning. But this album, after going through it and looking through it and playing it, I can't deny that it is one of Eminem's greatest albums.
That's funny you say that about Rap God versus Berserk as to which one would have caught your ear more as a first single. I loved Berserk. I loved Eminem's, playfulness on it. It was a return to Slim Shady form as he dyed his hair in the video. That was dope. I love the old school beat, that rock, that nod to, the Beastie Boys type shit. I liked Berserk.
I was more Rap God.
Rap God had more of a modern beat sound to it, which is why I feel like that's interesting that you would have been drawn. I mean, lyrically, Rap God is better than Berserk. So I get you in that sense, but sonically, I know sonically you wasn't really fucking with Berserk.
There was just something, like, I like Berserk, but there's just something about it that I was like I said, maybe my expectation, I was expecting something crazy, and he gave me...
M usually drops like a playful single.
You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. That's cool. But Rap God, I guess, was my expectation. That's what I was expecting. I was expecting M to come in and just shut shit down, and he did that with Rap God.
Well, you also know his singles up until I think like more recently in his career, his singles were never that. Like you had to go to the deep cuts of his albums to hear M go off. I do agree with you on the Eminem show. The album does hold a very special place in my heart.
Marshal Mathers LP2 is definitely the top 5. Eminem show, Marshal Mathers LP2, Recovery, Marshal Mathers LP.
His content is, I think that's as far as his albums, that's the best content he's had on any album is the overall content on the Eminem show. Yeah. But I've had to convince you of this for the Marshal Mathers LP too. Technically, this is his best album. When you're talking about rhyme schemes, metaphors, like the technical aspects of rap.
I could meet you there.
And also the content. Also, it's not as deep as the Eminem show per se, but he touches on a lot of things that he spoke about in the Marshal Mathers LP on a more mature level, and I feel like people missed that in this album. And he does talk about a lot of real shit, and then he also has those tracks like Evil Twin that he just goes off. So I would definitely put this, my either number 2 or number 3 favorite M albums of all time, with that other spot probably going to the first Marshal Mathers LP.
Yeah. And no,
possibly Recovery.
Definite.
But the first Marshal Mathers LP has just fucking, you got Stan, you got The Way I Am.
Those are songs, bro. When you hear
so I think those are my top. Those have to be my top 3. But yeah, again, Marshal Mathers LP2, if it's been a while, revisit it. Check it out. Underrated album for sure. And yeah, huge Anniversaries. Again, we went more into M because we're more familiar with that album. It came out only 5 years ago. 36 Chambers, everybody's familiar with that. Everybody knows, Wu Tang 36 Chambers. Except for you youngins, which if you listening, check that out. It'll blow your mind. It doesn't sound like anything else out right now. It didn't even sound like anything else at the time. RZA's production was just so unique. The Wu Tang members' lyricism is just so unique and sharp. So again, huge shout out to all the big Anniversaries.
Real quick too, I know Styles P dropped an album, I think it was like a week or two ago, called Dime Bag. Just wanted to shout that out.
Yeah, that was tough. Check that out for sure. Let us know how you feel about Midnight Marauders, 36 Chambers, the Marshal Mathers LP2. Which is your favorite of the 3 albums? What's your favorite song on each of these albums? If there's any songs on Midnight Marauders, 36 Chambers that you want to hear us break down, comment, let us know. We'll be happy to revisit.
Hit us up on Twitter. We'll put the information on the link below. iTunes, shout out to iTunes again.
Yes, if you fuck with us, please check us out on iTunes too. Search Live from 95 and podcast. We are there.
Twitter is
stay_live. We'll put it in the description.
Facebook also, SoundCloud, YouTube. Appreciate you guys, man. It's always a pleasure. Stay tuned for the next episode.
And remember, show love, support. Let us know you love what we do. Subscribe, like, share. Appreciate all the views. Appreciate all the love. And we're sending that love right back out to y'all. So we'll catch you next time on Live from 95.
Stay live.